and we will hear from Bryony, the best-selling authoress, or author, depending on your viewpoint these days, from Portsmouth, with an update on how she's doing. But today, Brandon, we're going to catch up with you on your health, but also we're going to listen to your musical choices and the lovely people you have actually met and know. But we are going to start off, and speaking personally, I couldn't be better pleased that you're starting off with this band. Name in 1974, the 8th album of 23 between 1968 and 2024. It actually got into the UK singles chart.
Amazing.
Guess what number? Bit older than you.
It's gonna be 50 then.
No, not quite. You're not that old.
Oh, not far off.
It's 45.
Oh, nearly my age then.
Well, there you go. That's giving something away. I dare ask Bryony that because I probably wouldn't walk out of it. Eddie Van Halen said that was one of his all-time favourite guitar riffs. Now, linked in with all talking about you and music today is that you've met people from most of the bands, most of the songs we're going to talk about today.
Yeah, most of them.
Most of them. Glenn Hughes, 1865 club in that place somewhere down the south coast, 10 miles away, who some people don't want to have the name mentioned.
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah, the Southampton.
Oh, there you go. You mentioned it.
That's the one. Yeah, we had to say the name. No, that venue is amazing. Everything from unsigned acts to tribute bands to major artists. They play everything. But
is it a better venue than the Brook?
Yeah, I think sort of as in smallest venues that hold less than 1,000. That all the ones I've been to in this country, that has to be the best.
What, 1865?
Yeah,
I've never actually been there.
This is a lot because I've been to like Camden Town, the Underworld. That's another amazing one. But the 1865 venue, the layout, even where the bars are within the place, they've sort of thought about that, so you're not bottlenecking people. So it's really well laid out. And it's small enough that you feel like you're close enough to the artist that's playing, and it's big enough that you feel like you've got space. It's really, you should check the place out.
Well, you just said everything that the Brook isn't.
Yeah.
I do like the Brook. See if you get there soon enough.
Yeah,
and you get the right seat. Otherwise, it's a case of you might as well turn the CD on. And it's sort of like, and you still hear
it's like one in, one out.
One in, one out. Yeah. I know. I was quite surprised by that.
Yeah.
So you saw Glenn Hughes at the 1865 fairly recently. What was it about it, and how did you meet him?
I've always wanted to. I've seen him before in the past, but I wasn't really close or anything. It was at Wembley Arena. I think he was playing the band there, California Breed or something, supporting Slash.
Right.
But again, you're so far away. It's like little Matchstick Men up there. So when I sort of found out he was playing local, I was hoping he was going to announce UK dates, and he did. So I was straight on it. I thought, I've got to go there and meet him. So I got in a really early with tickets.
Was it the Deep Purple music tour?
Yeah, it was like a sort of an anniversary or a tribute to his Deep Purple days. So it wasn't like solo stuff he'd done. It was mainly just Deep Purple stuff from the couple of albums that he played on.
If he's listening, that's for you, Pete. Yeah, carry on.
So we got to the venue really early. There was all the people there doing the sound checks and the setup and stuff like that. And his management was outside the venue, and we were just queuing up there for a while, and we just got talking to him, and there was lots of people there that wanted stuff signed that weren't really fans. They turn up at everything. They just got like bags full of vinyls and things like that normally
probably go and sell them as car boots.
Yeah, they're not fans at all. So we got
Bryony's sitting. I imagine that's the same problem you've got with some of your books and things. It's the same principle, isn't it? People. She is nodding. Yeah. So it's across different genres, isn't it? Different types of entertainment.
Yes, we just got talking to people outside now, and one of them was his like assistant manager. And I said, we've got this thing from the side, but I've always wanted to meet him and everything. And because we're there so early, he's like, well, I'll go and see if he's awake. Because they sleep at the venue.
Rock and roll.
So he went there, and I think he woke him up a little bit. Might have dozed off. But he was kind enough to come downstairs and
because he's up on the advanced stage, isn't he? He's not far short.
I think he was 71.
Is he 71
at the time? Right. When I met him, but he was still sharp as anything. But yeah, he signed 4 or 5 vinyls. I only wanted one because I wasn't going to push it, but then I seen how it went, and then seemed to sign more, and then I got a photo with him. And he signed an album. He was in a band called, I think it was Trapeze, yeah. One of the first bands he was in. And I got him to sign the album, and he's like, is it the American album cover or the UK one. I was like, well, I don't know. So we flipped it over on the back and he said, oh, this is the UK one. He said, because the USA one, I've got a big spot on my chin. I was like, oh, okay. So I asked him to draw the spot on his chin for him, which he did. With the silver pen, he drew like a nice big bit of acne there for me, you know. But yeah, he signed everything and that, and we got photos with him, and it was brilliant. He couldn't have been any better. And then watching him live and playing Burn at the front was amazing.
It's supposed to be a very nice person, by all accounts.
He is. He was absolutely amazing. Yeah.
And how did it? Did you ever see Deep Purple? You're not old enough to. You're obviously not old enough to see Mark III, but have you actually seen Purple live?
No, I haven't.
Right.
No.
So you've heard obviously Burn on CD. We heard it just now.
Yeah.
How did it compare when you heard it live by Glenn Hughes and his band?
I know he doesn't sing all the vocals on Burn,
Yeah.
but his voice, he's obviously can perform that song to a T, and it was just because I was so close to him, I could hear him. So not just through the mics and the PAs, I could actually hear him where I was stood there as well. So getting to hear that voice that he has doing that song live it's just unreal.
It's weird, isn't it? When you get close enough, you can almost hear the strings as they touch the strings and the strings vibrate. It's a whole different world.
And his voice, even at his age, there's no detuning some of the songs. It's just he plays them exactly like you just sung them yesterday.
Yeah, we could probably spend the next 3 or 4 minutes slagging off singers who should have retired by now at the age of 70 odd, but he's definitely not one of them.
No, not at the moment.
Because David Coverdale, at a similar age, has retired, and I think part of the reason is because his voice is quite up to where it was before. And he's taken the sensible one of not trashing his legacy.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's unfortunately the vocalists are the ones that suffer in all these great bands. They're the first to sort of deteriorate because it takes a lot of energy to do that.
Steve Morse left Deep Purple. Sorry, Pete. Steve Morse left Deep Purple because he's had RSI and arthritis in his fingers for quite a long time. It's part of the reason because playing so many shows.
Yeah.
We don't tend to think about injuries when it comes to musicians, because they just play for a couple of hours.
Yeah.
Not really how much goes. Well, because you are a musician yourself, aren't you?
Yeah.
We'll come on to that a little bit later. Health-wise, how you doing?
Everything's fine.
Can you just remind the audience, if you don't mind, very briefly, what health? When I refer to your health, what are we referring to?
To try and summarise up as quickly as possible, 2014 was diagnosed with testicular cancer, and then from 2014 onwards, for the next sort of 7 years, I went through like stage 1, stage 2, lots of chemo and 3 major surgeries. But at the moment, everything's fine. It's been.
You look as healthy as anything. You look disgustingly healthy.
What, from my age, or?
No, I didn't say that. Those who sit over there might be smiling. I didn't say that.
Yeah. It's because I don't have children, you see. That's why I've not aged as fast as I should.
Oh, that's another programme, yeah.
But no, everything's fine at the moment. In March, I've got my yearly checkups, which will be blood test, CT scan and chest x-ray in March.
That's really good. As I say, it was a while ago we did the first programme, and looking at you now, you look so healthy. It's really comforting because people can go through this terrible time, but it doesn't mean what some people think it means. I think that's why people like you are so important.
And keeping it away and continuing to beat cancer and win every day is something that I'm doing all the time.
Should be a mantra we play every week. That's a very good thing to say. So we're now going to move on to the second person that you have met. So we'll play the song and then we'll have a little natter about it afterwards. What a beautiful song about a pretty dark subject, actually, because that was Savage Garden, 2 Beds and a Coffee Machine. I love the title. Yeah. Taken from Affirmation, 1999, the first of only 2 albums they released in 97 and 99. That was Darren Hayes on the vocal, the person you've met, and Daniel Jones on guitar, Australian, and it's about a woman in the abuse of a relationship who goes to a cheap hotel with 2 beds and a coffee machine to get away, but tends to go back. Why that song?
Well, what you just described there it's a lot with my childhood, with the way my dad was, like an alcoholic and abusive and things like that. And it was very, my mum knew when he went away drinking, and as soon as he left the house, she was like, come upstairs and woke us up to, right, we need to get out now before he comes back drunk. So that song, obviously, the lyrics are very specific to his childhood. And so I could always relate to that song, and since I've been listening to that song my whole life. I've learned to play it as well on piano and guitar, and it's a song that I've played quite often as well. That's why, I picked that song.
It obviously means, I can see in your face, it actually means a lot. So when it's autobiographical like that, well, that's the power of music.
Yeah.
We're going to do a quick morph. So your morph can be replaced by Mindy if she wants to come over. And whilst I'm wittering away like this, Brandon is going to morph into Bryony, who is going to talk about a very quick update, Bryony, on where you are, because I have in front of me a book.
Oh,
I know. Funny that, isn't it?
yeah.
It says Bryony Best. Oh yeah, sorry, that's the title. The Essential Guide for Self-Publishing. Top tips for before, during and after publication. And inside, which is a nice little book, how many pages? It is 70 odd pages. Quite nice size font. Yeah, so people my age can read it.
Yeah.
And it says introduction, then it goes to various chapters about before you write, publishing contracts, legal requirements and copyright law, tasks, publishing avenues, the social media, marketing, helpful advice, and your secret. So, what made you want to write this book?
I decided to write the book because, as you know, I help many authors. People come to me and they ask me for advice and guidance, especially with marketing, and I get new writers that come to me as well who want help and advice from before publication and then during and after. So I decided to write a book so I can help a lot more people that maybe can't get to me or can't come and join one of my groups to help people that want to publish books.
So how big is self-publishing these days? If I walked into a bookshop, whatever type, and you saw a dozen books, how many would you reckon, is it possible to say how many of those you would reckon are self-publishing, or is it in a particular section in a bookshop?
Well, that's a very big avenue there. So if you walk into a traditional bookshop, if it's an independent bookstore, then there will definitely be a section of self-published books or independently published books from maybe local writers. If you go into mainstream bookshops, you are not likely to find self-publishing books.
You mean the ones that begin with W, that kind of thing?
Yeah. Because those books and their spacing for those books are usually agreed through contracts for traditional contracts. So the keys to that kingdom pretty much held pretty tightly. So
self-publishing, presumably there's a financial cost benefit. Presumably the overheads are a lot less.
No, so the overheads would be a lot more with self-publishing because you are paying for everything. So you're paying for the cover designer, the ISBNs, you're paying for the print.
What's ISBN?
The ISBN is the unique number on the back of a book.
Okay.
So if you publish a book and you assign an ISBN to it, you can then publish it in different avenues.
Okay.
And it'll be registered obviously under that ISBN number, like a unique code, like your date of birth maybe, or your NHS number, something like that. So books can be bought and purchased through that ISBN and discovered all over the world, I suppose.
Have you always self-publicised? Sorry, self-published. Sorry. Self-published.
So I self-published my first 2 books. I was offered other contracts for my second book because I'd done something called querying, which is where you're contacting different companies which are publishers to see whether you can actually get a contract with them. I actually turned down contracts for my second book and decided to self-publish because I wanted to retain 100% of the rights and 100% of the royalties. So you do have to put all the financial costs in up front, but the beauty of it is you own all of the rights, where usually with a traditional contract you would be almost signing over the rights to your book. You wouldn't put any of the finances in, but generally that means you're getting a small percentage of what comes through. So if it does become very, very successful, you might not necessarily be financially rewarded from that. So there's pros and cons to both of it. A lot of people choose to self-publish because they decide that they're quite proud of their book, or they want to retain the rights to their book, which is what I've done because my books are personal, so I didn't want to hand it over and have it changed. My remaining books, what have I published now? 7. So the remaining 5 books are independently published. The book that you've got there is independently published, and it actually went to a bestseller in paperback and ebook. So
in ebooks?
Yeah, ebook and paperback. So You can't get a better advertisement than that. A book that's about how to be successful at self-publishing, and the book becomes a bestseller. My next book is going to be independently published, and I do have another book that I will hopefully be signing a contract for tomorrow with a local publishing company called Thinking Bigger Limited, which is a children's book.
Do you actually find time to eat or breathe or read the paper or walk the dog or something?
If I'm honest, I used to be so hyper-focused, is the word I'm going to use, that I would spend all my time writing and marketing. I've actually got a beautiful, more healthier balance in life now since moving to Wales. Instead of writing all day every day, I get up at 6:30.
Other countries are available, yeah.
I start writing, and then when I finish that chapter, I stop, we walk the dog, and then I go and get outside in nature to get that nice balance, because my balance before was very unhealthy, which is why I moved away from Portsmouth, because I was doing too many jobs.
Yeah.
So believe it or not, I do have a lot more downtime. I am putting that as more of a focus in my mind rather than just writing. But I will be finishing my next book. I've only got 4 more chapters to write, so that'll be finished very soon. So that'll hopefully be out either, what are we in now, February? Hopefully be out in March. So that is
March 2025.
2025. So that's a spiritual book about, it's called Born Again, A Spiritual Journey Through Reincarnation. And then I'll be writing, I'm very happy to announce, another Girl from Pompey book, The Forgotten Chapter.
Well, you could do Girl from Pompey who went to Southampton and see how that sells.
I could do.
You could do, but you're not going to.
No.
So, looking at the back of this book, topics covered throughout this book include legal requirements, writing tips, technical tasks, social media platforms, and marketing strategies. Thank you for this very brief update on where you are. It's great. It's always lovely to see people who flourish, and you clearly are.
Thank
And
you.
I've seen some of the reviews online, which I know you haven't written, but are very good.
Oh, I know.
Joking aside, I think a lot of the compliments don't come easy.
No.
And I think probably one sign of success is that there are people out there who are trying to have a little snipe at you. I see as well, and that does come with the territory, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It's no different in any other industry. It all comes with the territory. What you do is terrific. You know, it's lovely to see people make the best of what they can and continue with it. So just to finish off this part of the conversation, then we'll go back to the music, and then we'll hear again from Brandon. What's the one thing? Is there one thing? I didn't say I was going to ask you this, but is there one thing about this book that's the most important for anybody who's looking to be a writer and to self-publish? Is there one thing that's the most important?
To buy it.
That is a very good answer. Now, I don't normally find myself stuck for a reply to what someone said. I'm not sure how to follow that, except to say, Bryony, as always, lovely to see you, thank you. And shall we have the Clash? So there we had the Clash. We had Clampdown, taken from London Calling, 1979, third of 6 albums between 77 and 85. Now, apparently that began as an instrumental called Working and Wasting, by all accounts. Then the lyrics are added about those who forsake idealism of youth and how they fight the status quo. Now, isn't that a classic punk theme or anthem?
Yeah, 100%.
Fight the status quo.
Yeah.
Where have you heard that before with punk bands?
Yeah.
So this is one of those where there's somebody you haven't actually met. So first of all, why this song? And then we'll nip back to Savage Gardens and meeting Darren Hayes.
Well, the Clash they can't ever be my band. I think I'm too young for that to be my band. Probably about 10 years out of date for it, but they've influenced a lot of bands that I love. And I've got a good friend of mine that moved away to Ireland. His name's Andy, and he would love to have heard that song, so we'll just dedicate that song to him.
Nice thought. Darren Hayes, how did you meet him?
So Darren Hayes this was a bit less by chance of meeting him. He was playing in Brighton, and if you got in there early with buying tickets, like the first X amount of people that bought the tickets got an opportunity to submit a question and watch the sound check. So we went to the sound check and I submitted a question to him which was referenced the song that we played earlier by Savage Garden. And I told him how was it about his childhood, because I could relate it to mine. And he said yes, it was, and he sort of felt bad for me, and then later on that night when he actually played the gig, he looked at me during one of his songs and gave me an open palm gesture and a thumbs up, because he was singing the lyric to me.
So he looked straight at you?
Yeah, and then later on during another song, he got to give away a prop that they were using during the song, which referenced comfort and protection, and he picked me out the audience, which was very female based, and he's like, this is for you, and I was like, oh, what, the person in front? He's like, no, this is for you, I want you to have this item that was to do with being protected as a child, and he gave me this item, which I got to keep as well from the show, and I managed to get a photo with him as well.
Right, there's a bit of style with that, isn't there?
Yeah.
Goodness me.
Yeah.
You are a musician.
Yeah.
How are you a musician?
I guess how is, there's always been music in my life. My dad was heavily into music and drinking, so I thought I'd take on the music side from him. It started with drums. I think I touched it, was on here before. I watched a drum solo by a guy called Matt Sorum from Guns N' Roses, and I saw that and thought that's what I want to do. And then it's just gone from there. Guitar, harmonica, piano, singing, yeah, the whole lot. And I've played solo gigs mainly, but I started off in a band that I thought I was going to be in it forever and we were going to be so successful. It was really taken off pretty fast when I first started.
How long did it last?
I'd say about 2 years.
That's pretty good.
We managed to make demos and stuff like that. And
have you still got those demos?
Yes, I do, yeah. Maybe for another show.
Yeah, no, I'd be very interested, because one of the interviews that I have is a local guitarist, and we had done a program where he just released a CD, and we've gone through as it happened, because as you know, conversations can carry on.
Yeah.
We've gone through about half the songs, but it's interesting to hear what, why, how, when, where, or behind. I had the same obviously the same conversation with your sister about writing books. I know that Bryony's books are quite personal, so there's if you like, an obvious and an easy source material.
Yeah.
But nevertheless, it was intriguing how she went about it, and it's the same with music and people who write songs and people who sing songs. And you hear interpretations. And I'll just give you one example, is Sound of Music, sorry, not Sound of Music, Sound of Silence, oops, where Paul Simon says that Disturbed, Disturbed are a heavy rock band from America. And he said their version is probably better than his own, because of the way it's been interpreted.
Yeah.
And if you listen to it, and you listen to the two songs, they do sound very different. It's an identical song, because he hasn't really changed much in terms of the tune, just the way that he's actually done his arrangement. And his voice, of course, is a very good voice. Do you sing?
Yeah.
What sort of voice have you got?
Oh, how would I describe it? I haven't got loads of range. I can get a song across.
So that's interesting.
Yeah, I can get a song across, and I can sing it without it sounding horrific, but I know my limitations, so certain songs I would never attempt. Sort of mid-range, I can get away with a couple of songs. But
what's your favourite song you'd like to sing?
I'd quite like to sing a song by The Calling, Wherever You Will Go. That's a good range.
That's not a bad little cue setup, because we know what's coming next.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we're going to listen to a song by The Calling. We'll put it on in a couple of seconds. So we're going to have The Calling, Wherever You Will Go.
Yeah.
But this could easily be you singing it in your mind. This is you're singing this as well, because this is a favourite song of yours to sing.
Yeah.
Have you got a demo of that?
No, I don't have it.
Oh, okay. Then I'm just curious, because I love it when people sing the songs that really mean something to them.
Yeah.
It says a lot about that person, but it also says a lot about that particular song. So, since you've queued it up absolutely beautifully, shall we listen to The Calling? Right, confession time. I said to you I didn't know that song. I do know that song.
Yeah, everyone does deep down.
Yeah, but not only that, I like that song. So I think my street cred is just starting to erode just a little bit further. But then again, Matt Monroe's one of my favourite singers, and it's still nowadays, I say to people, Matt Monroe, who? I'm thinking, okay, fair enough, yeah, I know he was of an age. So that song was by The Calling, Wherever You Will Go. Camino Palermo was the album, 2001, one of only 2 albums they released. That I didn't realise, 2001 and 2004. And Aaron Kamen is part of the band, I believe, was at a grandmother's best friend's funeral who had left a husband of 50 years, and he was wondering how to adjust, but also he was waiting to get back to be with her, but also to make sure she was okay, which is a beautiful little story. Why that song for you?
It's a song that I've always just loved since the day it come out, and I've played it live probably more than any other song, I think.
What, on stage?
Yeah, acoustically, yeah, just myself with the guitar.
Acoustically?
Yeah.
That's impressive.
It's just a song that, you know, I don't know, just certain people have songs at certain times that just they can sort of relate to, and also was able to sort of perform it. So that's why that song, yeah.
So do you get emotional when you sing it?
Yeah, I think anyone that performs any form of music, they get emotional, whether it's really excited, really sad, anything,
really
you know. So yeah, and definitely with a song that sounds very emotional, yeah, definitely.
I tell you what, that's a very. There's a charity called Sophie's Legacy. Sophie was a young lady who died at 10 of cancer, one of the bravest ladies, and Joe, one of her neighbours, wrote a song called The Ark of the Rainbow, where the rainbow is Sophie in the sky. And we do it, especially when we do stuff in our choir, and I've never got through it yet with a dry eye.
Yeah.
It's just some song gets you.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
That for you, this for you is similar?
Yeah, similar, but I don't end up crying there by the end of any time, so I managed to hold that back.
You're too manly.
Yeah, too manly, yeah, that's it.
Oh no, when you get to my age, believe me, you cry when someone opens a door. It's a change in age, honestly.
Yeah.
When you get older, it does. So with your singing ability, that particular voice, who's the singer of the call?
Alex Band. Alex Band
It is Alex Band, sorry.
Yeah.
Yes, you did tell me that, sorry. And his voice is similar to yours, yes?
I'd say mine is more similar to his than his more similar to mine.
Oh, that's very kind of you. That's a nice way to put it. That's very respectful. I'm sure if he hears that, no, that's a nice thing to say. So what is it about singing you like doing? Why do you like singing?
Well, when I started off singing, I didn't start singing because I loved it. It's because I was trying to learn guitar, and the lyrics are how I was learning the song, so I had to sing myself.
Yeah.
And I just found that I just sort of fell into it. Like, for me to learn more on guitar and piano, I had to sing at the same time. So then I just learned to sing. Obviously, when you start off, it's really bad, you know. I'm not anything great or anything, but I say I can get a song across, and I was pretty much sort of kind of forced into it because I wanted to learn the music, and to learn the music without having a singer around to sing it, I had to do it, and that's just how it kind of started.
Do you write songs?
I have done, yeah. Yeah.
Oh, that's a cagey answer.
Yeah, it is cagey, because I mean, just like if you talk to someone about their poetry or their art or something, it's very difficult to put it out there, because once out it's judged.
Sorry to cut across you. Poetry. Is there a difference between poetry and a song?
No. The only difference is it's poetry until you put music to it.
And then what?
Then it becomes lyrics to a song. So prior to that, it can just be like a poem.
So in your opinion, in general terms, can all poems become songs?
100%.
Are all songs poems?
100%.
I love the certainty of an answer like that. That's very good.
100%.
Is there anything in the musical side that you'd like to achieve that you haven't got to yet?
Oh, so much that I thought I had a plan to have. I should have released my third solo album by 2007.
Your third solo album?
Yeah.
Oh, nothing like that.
I made a couple with the band, and then I'll do my solo albums, but I haven't even made any with the band yet, so I'm a little bit behind schedule.
You're still young enough, though.
Yeah, that's it. Well, yeah, I might look like I'm young enough, but maybe not on the inside. But
well, I think compared to between me and you, you've got slightly more time than I have, I think, to achieve things like that, which would be really good. As always with these programs, time is very much an enemy, so we're definitely going to get the next song in, because apart from anything else, I love the story behind this song. Now I'm going to tempt fate again and say I'm not sure if I know. I've never heard this song. We shall see whether or not I have. This one down, unfortunately, is right at the end of the song, and that was Train, with the lead singer being Pat Monahan. That was Train Drive-By from the album California 37 in 2012. My notes don't make sense when I read them right. 6th of 11 albums between 98 and 2022. And that was about meeting his wife, quickly falling in love, and be really scared if it's a good idea.
We can relate.
Do you know, I almost wasn't going to ask you that question. Brandon, can you relate to that?
Yeah, I can, yeah, definitely.
Is that why you like the song?
Probably one of the reasons, yeah. I just love the band. I think they're so like, there's this radio-friendly band.
Yeah, they can do a very good impersonation of Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Yeah. Well, they play any genre of music as well.
Yeah. So you met Pat Monahan at one of the most famous venues you can possibly get, Royal Albert Hall.
Yeah.
How on earth did that come about?
So this one wasn't as much as by chance as the other ones. So the venue was selling, they sold it as a kind of a meet and greet ticket, but it wasn't guaranteed a photo or anything. So you only basically got to have like a signpost when you turn up in front of
was this one of those where you pay the VIP extra amount of money to meet them, or was this the actual evening was like they did other people who come along and they talk about their career?
This would have been a VIP ticket thing,
right.
But it didn't sort of guarantee that there was going to maybe be a photo or anything. It was just you get like some memorabilia, like a goodie bag they call it, but it wasn't going to be necessarily a meet and greet. But we managed to meet him, got a photo with him, and he signed a couple of things for me. And I was 2 rows, I think, second row in from the front, and got to see them perform, and it was absolutely amazing at that venue. If you've been there yourself, you'll know. It was just
I've done it twice, which was in the round where I saw Deep Purple with the Philharmonic Orchestra, but way up on top of Mount Everest for Sting, which was the highest point as we discussed off air, it's a sheer drop with no parachute.
Exactly,
which is ridiculous. But you've actually said to me that you've sung at the Royal Albert Hall, and then you explained it as
I was in the crowd singing to Train.
So, but I think
in my eyes that counts.
Well, I think in anybody's eyes that would count.
Yeah.
As with all these programmes, time catches up with everybody. We're coming towards the end now, and I'd like to bring Bryony back in just to say thank you. But it's been terrific having you come in and talk about things. There's a hell of a lot to what music means to you, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Would you say that apart from your partner, is it music that's kept you going?
Through some hard times in my life, yeah, it has to, because you start relating to music, it brings you up, and then when you're down, even the sad songs bring you up.
So is it twofold? One, you can relate to it, but 2, it helps boost you up. So the 2 different facets to it.
Yeah.
Is that what you would say?
Yeah.
Isn't it amazing what things like music can do?
Yeah. It also,
Bryony, you'd say the same about she's sitting just across from us. You would say the same about books?
Yeah.
Yeah, she said yes. So basically the books, you relate to them or they help you. Which is, of course, is what Bryony's doing with her books, which is about the girl from Pompey. Go and get them at all good bookshops and Amazons and God knows what else. They're worth going to read for somebody who has started from a position where the only way was up, but doesn't always happen to get up. And you certainly have, and I think that is terrific. So we're going to play out to the other one you've never met, Brandon, which is Richard Ashcroft, A Song for Lovers, taken from Alone and Everybody in 2000, his debut album of 6, 2000 and 2021. It was originally a demo for the Verve's Urban Hymns and was inspired by the Joy Division song Love Will Tear Us Apart. There you go. So we're going to play out to that. Brandon, it's been lovely seeing you again. Thank you so much for coming in and talking. Give us an update on your health, and we'll keep track of that. But also talking about your musical history.
Yeah.
But also what you do yourself as well, which is terrific in terms of music. And Bryony, thank you very much indeed for coming in. Very best of luck with the self-publishing and all the other 75 books you're going to write in 1 year. So we are going to say thank you very much indeed. So from me, Ken Evans here on Chatterbox on The Flash. Until our next interview, until the next person we speak to, hopefully they'll be as good and as entertaining as Brandon and Bryony have been today. So we're going to play out with Richard Ashcroft. Until we speak again, goodbye.